question. Now, it was this dude named William Bryant and Bob Hope. You ever heard of Bob Hope?
Yeah.
All right, so I come to find out when I'm studying these files, because a lot of this stuff got opened up this year. It's come to find out these guys were hypnosis for the CIA, and that a lot of the people in
Hypnotist.
Hollywood, yeah, hypnosis. Him, Bob, and it's another dude named William Bryan Jr. You ever heard of that dude? Let me see, make sure
That
this the
sounds
right.
familiar, but
Yeah,
I probably read about him somewhere.
he the one that hypnosed the guy to take out Robert Kennedy.
Mm.
Because and look,
Mm.
he the one that actually directed the Manchurian Candidate. Yeah, this nigga, yeah, why? Why? When I was going through the paper files, I almost fell out the chair. I say, man, look, this right here,
You,
I almost fell
you
out the
know,
chair.
out of the names you mentioned, Bob Hope stick out the most because you remember he was a comedian that used to hold the USO entertainment for the troops during Vietnam and Korea War.
Oh,
He
yeah,
that,
bro, yeah, that's
right
okay.
now
That's it.
remember the guy from the Gong Show. He was using the Gong Show, traveling the Gong Show to different places while he do hits for the CIA.
Yeah, see, they got some stuff like that in the file. I just scanned through. Bob Hope name came up real thick though.
Yeah,
Uh,
Bob Hope. Bob Hope is an anomaly. He's like a meteor in the timeline. He did a lot of shit.
yeah, so what what I gathered is that these guys pretty much control Hollywood. Like you had to go through Bob Hope and this other guy. They were like the background manipulator guys. They call them programmers. That's what they call them, programmers. That's what they call Bob. They got Bob Hope listed as a programmer. And they whatever they MK Ultra program, and this dude Brian Williams, they were like handlers, and they had trigger words for certain people based on what this document was. And they even control all the writers. They even hypnosis all the writers and people that drew all the pictures for Walt Disney, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so all this is connected. And come to find out that right before that they built Disneyland and Disney World, the CIA stopped the construction on it so they can come in and build these underground facilities that over there. And come
Well,
to find out they got
the whole family's been coming up missing in
yeah,
Disneyland for years.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm finding out. Like it's a lot of creepy. It started to get creepy once you go down that railroad.
Okay, so we gotta remember, you got different secret societies that perform different functions.
Uh huh.
Some secret societies today is actually called 501c3 nonprofits.
Mm-hmm. That's right. School of
You
Mama.
got the ADL and the JDL.
Mm-hmm.
They work for more Zionist Jews that's darker than me and you, Elder.
Right. Blacker than your shirt.
But they use those pale faces to push their agenda as if all of the Jews got pale faces.
Right.
We never look at the ones Noble Drew Ali was bickering with.
Right.
Because we thinking that the Jews that's infiltrating us is the pale face, the Ashkenazi and the Sephardi.
Yeah.
Them Khazarians. It's not them. They the cover story. They the cat's paw.
Yeah. The fall guy.
They the fall guy, the co-seavers, the crash dummy. The dummy they put in the car when they gonna crash it into the wall to see what happened to it.
Damn, that's cold, man.
Right, because remember, this goes back to the other question too about the little Nazi group. The whole thing is they want us to be so mad when we come out of the slumber that we go on a rampage of kill Whitey, but we ain't falling for the shenanigans and the banana in the tailpipe no more. They getting frustrated.
Yeah.
And in their chaotic, contrived events, them people probably did go down there. They probably was allegiance with some Nazi group, but they were sent down there so they could put it in the news.
They got paid.
Right? All of them is paid actors.
Yep.
And actors don't always mean Hollywood acting. It also mean participant in something.
Right.
Right? And you be wondering, like, if you go back to the George Floyd thing, and they say they're gonna have a march for the shooting of George Floyd, and at 6 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock, I'm watching the news camera. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, a whole marching crew of pale faces come bending the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That was so obviously freaking staged that it looked like they was filming the movie and we was watching the backdrop of them film the movie.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Like, so like, and then if you notice, they pulled this Ben Crump thing and all this. And then I was also reading the different type of agents they sent out. And I was like, dang, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton sure could fit as a description that they gave for some of they Manchurian or they mind control agents that they used against us to calm us down. The way they was describing. I'm about to put the tape out about it. Like, I had put the tape out today, but they chopped it up so bad to where it wasn't saying what they were saying no more. So I'm gonna try to do another route. But I had to tape out today where it was breaking down how they sent all these different agents in and used our own people, these to get your hand out of my pocket, people. You know, get your hand out of my pocket.
Them niggas.
Huh?
I said, yeah, them niggas.
Them niggas right there. And them the same niggas that went and told that the shots came out of the bushes when they know it came from the tower, from the fire shot tower, man. Same niggas. Same niggas with no towel. They said we moved out the way so they can make the shot. And
you know, out of all of the civil rights activists that got assassinated, the only one that was unequivocally assassinated by a pale face on strictly racist motivations was Medgar Evers.
Okay.
All of the rest of them was either sabotaged by a nigga, set up by a nigga, or murdered by a nigga.
One or the other.
And they telling you the white man the problem. What you missing?
Damn.
Every time one of us figure it out and we get ready to go to Washington and collect our check, one of us murder him or set him up.
Damn. So the person that shot Malcolm, I mean, was it Martin Luther King's son or his wife? Wasn't that a black Jewish guy? And
his mama was sitting in the front pew at church. A Hebrew Israelite dude looked like he batshit crazy, walked into church to the front row and shot Martin's mama in the face.
MK.
Straight up Manchurian candidate.
All day long. Like, I wonder why they think that we can't. Like, that's interesting, man. And then after they went,
they wanted us to know their involvement in the assassination of the King family members. That's why they sent him in there.
Send us a message.
Yeah, that's like when they sent Vito Corleone that bulletproof vest and that fish.
Yeah. Yes, it means,
and everybody standing around talking about what do it mean? What do it mean?
Brasi sleeps
with the fishes.
It's a Sicilian message. I like the
that's what that is. That was the message some niggas telling you. And now we over here, we full-fledged some tribal name that's no longer in the history books and we can't pronounce, calling ourselves some Hebrew Israelites.
When we ain't
you know they not us because their cultural background, the description of their culture is in their religious work. In their religious culture, our religious culture over here on these lands don't allow us to eat babies.
Right.
That's not in our spiritual best interest.
Right.
Over here. In their spiritual interest, it's okay for the rabbi to suck the baby dick, as long as he call it a circumcision.
That's crazy.
That's not part of our culture over here. That's foreign invading influence on our culture.
Yeah, the Canaanites, the Baal worship.
That's all of those ancient gods was before this religious shit. This Judaism, Christianity, and Islam is the problematic spiritual teachings because it brainwashes you instead of liberates you. It traps you in box after box after box. In Islam, you can't even go to work without having to stop midway through your first session and do a salat.
That's
Then you got waiting on lunch. You got to stop again, do another salat before you can even go to lunch. That's fucking retarded. That's hostage holding. You holding them hostage.
Yeah, and Jesus said, "Don't do that, though." Jesus, that's the only part about some of the stuff like that. Jesus said that you don't gotta pray but one time. You don't gotta keep telling me. Once you tell me one time what you want, get on home about you.
One of the coldest verses in the Bible is it say, "These people draw nigh unto me with their mouth, but their hearts are far from me."
Right.
Teaching as commandments the doctrines of men.
Right.
And I was like, yep.
Islam got its good points.
For many will come to me in the last days and say, I cast out devils, heal the sick, and raise the dead, all in your name. And the Lord will say, get thee hence. I know you not, you workers of iniquity and false prophets and idol worshipers. Now, why would the person that you calling on doing all this stuff reject you when they get here?
Go ahead.
Remember, you say, these people will come to me in the last days, right?
Lord.
And what they gonna say? I cast out demons. I raised the dead. I healed the sick. All in your name.
Yeah.
What name they use?
Exactly. That's the next question.
Then that take us to Proverbs 22. A good name is better, more precious than gold and silver.
They also talk about that in another verse in Romans, where they said that it was he was given a name that by that name. So it's all them verses connected.
So the easiest way to lead you astray is to change the name.
Facts.
All you got to do is change the name, and you automatically got everybody who believe in the name following the wrong name.
That's
in the name of Jesus when it's supposed to be ISIS. You gonna get rid of the great mother for a little sissy boy. Playing he got a Bible in his hand, coming out, surfing on the cloud, hanging 10, coming around the bend with the Philharmonic Orchestra on the bigger cloud behind him, coming to rescue you for the rapture, you up to heaven with his father.
I heard that perspective too, because I heard that.
That's the most ridiculous and absurd shit a person can tell you to insult your intelligence.
Yeah. I
heard this motherfucker come surfing out the clouds like he a goddamn a hippie surfer with this stringy beard slinging behind him in the wind and a Philharmonic Orchestra following behind him.
Yeah.
I quit.
Yes, it's a lot of that stuff. See that they took a lot of that stuff. Yeah, they took a lot of that stuff from the sun worship and put it into Constantine and tied it into the real, the real storyline. Not so like a lot of that stuff is a tribute to the sun, like the SUN in the sky. It's not even a tribute to a prophet, person. So it's like so the story is like when you say, oh yeah, well, dude come out the clouds, you're talking about the sun, the SUN. You ain't talking about no physical being. You're talking about somebody walking on the water, you're talking about the sun coming over the water on the Nile when they, it's all the it's a whole bunch of
look at it. I don't know what them folks talking about. But you got somebody you got somebody in the chat trying to tell me the Hebrew name of somebody who was named in Greek.
Yeah, We talking about Yahshua.
They trying to tell me a Hebrew name of somebody who's named in Greek.
Yeah, Isus is how they said it became Isus, then Jesus, then Jesus once the monks added the J to it. So at first it was I see what you're saying ISIS, because it really was Isus. I can see how they could have got ISIS from there. Then you got Esau.
But that ain't even proper pronunciation using the characters of the Greek and the rules of grammar.
Could be. But it's
I know the literal proper pronunciation using the rules of grammar is it's IES OUS. So the capital I silences the E. The S silences the O, makes the UH sound as the U crashes into the S for to carry it out with the H sound.
ISIS.
It's ISIS all day long. You can tell me whatever you want to tell me, but you can't tell me that I don't know the rules of grammar.
Oh, no, I ain't. No, you know me.
I ain't talking about you. Wrong. I'm talking about them religious folks.
Yeah, I don't say nobody wrong. I just take in perspectives.
When they realize that they gonna find out that was a 21-part play written by Josephus Flavius in the time when they didn't have television.
Right.
They didn't. All they had was coliseums and plays.
That's right.
And the 21-part play was supposed to be a 21 different people looking at the so-called chosen one and telling their story about when she come.
Right.
We come around the mountain when she come.
When she comes around the mountain when she comes. You might just shave people's head bald right there. They probably don't even know it after that part. Should be coming around the mountain when they always get us. Yes, another thing, Roy. Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, man, about the jingles, the different jingles. Now they said that that Bob Hope and them and all these other guys, they hired Pacific people that was like Druid. They got to be a certain level trained under the Druids, and they write these jingles, like the Alice in Wonderland.
It's not just what they're looking for is a level of musical mastery.
Okay.
In the most common places that they used to look in the old days was in the secret societies that emphasized the arts in order to develop the feminine nature of women and to the overly masculine males to calm down his testosterone energy. Mm-hmm. So they would use theater and ballet and song. And so when you hear about a group of these people coming out of the same secret society, it was geared to prepare them to be music writers and singers and instrument players. But then you have something that comes along and they call him a prodigy.
Yep.
And they can exploit him early on because his musical genius is magnetic to the ears of the people, the Pied motherfucking Piper.
Just like Quincy Jones became the one of the protocol guys for their society, especially about for me, because he wrote a lot like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
But look, even before that though, Quincy didn't come to fame doing jazz R&B. He came to musical prominence doing movie scores.
Okay, go ahead. I know that.
Doing the movie scores, he was able to access a higher bracket of Hollywood integrity than anybody before him. And you got to remember, Ray Charles was taking the blues into orchestra.
Go ahead. Yep. Yep.
Right. It's the same with Barry White. They was using the orchestra principles as their foundation for developing new and compelling music.
Yeah, mixing classical.
Right. And we already know that Barry White flat out told you he was a self-made god.
Right. Straight up.
Right. And in order for him to reach that level of mastery, you got to put in the practice and the work.
Yeah, that dude can play any instrument. He can write a whole fucking orchestra. Like he's a maestro for real, like the real maestro. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't call him that for no reason.
Right.
You look at the Motown machine, And the writers in there, Hayoka High Priest, Smokey Robinson was their prime writer.
Right.
Right. And they drew other people in, but they was all centered around the writings of Smokey Robinson. He a full-fledged Hayoka High Priest. All day long.
Right.
Right. That's why he can tell you he proud to be black, but he ain't no goddamn African because he know who they are.
Right.
Right. And people be like, oh, he just don't like himself because he don't want to be black. No, he understand beyond the veil.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. He tell you how to read the tears of a clown.
Now, for our okay, let's just say this. Okay, so we got like people like Oprah Winfrey. You know, we know for sure she's a part of some kind of high rank. Or ain't no way you get a.
She's a Delta. She's a Delta from a college fraternity.
Okay.
She's pledged Delta.
Okay, Delta. Okay.
And
So
then she dipped by the boule.
okay, the boule. Okay, I can see that. And then usually I always had a Jew. They always say they got a Jewish handler, but they never mention them. It might be some dark black haired guy popping them. You know what I'm saying? They got a Jewish handler in the background. Like I always know, like they said that Oprah Winfrey, when you go chase her back, you find out it's a Jewish guy. That's her handler. All these billionaires, every billionaire, it's always some kind of. They'll never show the guy. They just say, "Oh, it's a Jewish guy." That she's close and good.
Okay,
good.
then you got to look at why that is. There's more than one reason why that is.
Go ahead.
Historically, the best people in the American legalese system
Right.
have been classified as Jews.
That's facts. I heard that.
And most of the entertainers' interest is protected by the attorney that they hire to represent their interests and help them manage their estate. He's permanently on payroll.
Right.
So it's a lawyer that got a permanent check coming. He only got to look at your stuff a couple times a year, make sure you ain't fucking up. But he can still practice law somewhere else on somebody else's case.
Right.
So how many people does it take for him to get massively paid? Then they have a network of brotherhood, an organization where they sit around and they make sure everybody got a client.
Right.
Right. These people became known as handlers because they handled them people's money.
Right.
And some of the handlers, when you go back to the 50s and 60s, would have total control of the artist's money. And if they decided to walk away, they could take all of their wealth with them, as has been done, without consequence, because the artist was signed to them as a representative.
Like Jerry Heller.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Heller, Easy E them, you know, with the you know how that went down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
Jerry Heller. That was the Jerry Heller walked into them goddamn suits and bow ties.
Right. The dark hand. Black hand was working Jerry
No,
Heller.
no black hand there. That was a straight up in your face FOI motherfucker. You ain't finna come over here and keep doing this bullshit.
Oh, you saying the FOI got with Jerry Heller and shut him down?
You don't remember an Easy story when they had to go to that's when Ice Cube left.
Yeah. They went to the White House.
And then Ice Cube sent one of his homeboys a FOI to go talk to Easy. Easy then was asking the FOI about using them for security. He was using Crips up until then.
Yeah. Yeah. Big Crips too.
And then when Jerry Heller seen them bow ties when he walked in, he like shit on himself. He thought the gig was up. But the gig was up. He just didn't know it.
Yeah, it was up. He got rid of him eventually, with just used him as like you know, kind of
if you pay attention, the only ones that they don't mess with is the fruit.
Right.
They push up on everybody else, gang banging and fucking set tripping. And I ain't talking about us. I'm talking about them big bankers.
Yeah.
I'm talking about them Hollywood execs.
Yeah.
right? They'll send somebody that look like you down in your neighborhood to pay somebody you grew up with that's got a little bit of jealousy to shoot you in your face
Yeah. Yeah.
as a sacrifice.
Man, honestly, I believe now, man, I'm starting to think with all the new images that I got of Diddy supposedly in jail, they don't even look like Diddy, man. They said that all of a sudden one day, and it said like the same storyline they gave us with Epstein, that all of a
These
sudden,
the same storyline that is tied together.
oh, okay, so he had a heart
They
attack.
they tied they tied together when they start releasing a lot of information. It's the Diddy files is gonna drag out the Epstein files.
Right.
The
They
Epstein
all,
files gonna drag out the Podesta files,
right.
and then it's gig up from there.
Anthony Weiner's laptop, I mean, domino effect, right? Because we forgot about Anthony Weiner's
Look,
laptop.
this stuff look like it ain't even got no relation to it, but it's directly connected.
Yeah.
You gotta remember. So why is Puffy filming these freak off parties? He's getting dirt on people. Why
Because that's
was
part,
Epstein inviting people to the island to get dirt on people?
right.
And you think they not trading in smut?
Right.
You think that Puffy never heard of Epstein while he was doing his freak off
Right.
parties?
Right.
He never met Maxine Ghislaine Maxine. Look, it's like what my man said in The King of New York. If it's a nickel bag sold in the park, I won't eat. Them human traffickers is more territorial than drug dealers.
Yeah.
They need to control as much of the operation as possible. Let somebody from the outside bring too much heat.
Man, I
Then they
know.
all got to get their children from somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
And while they getting these babies, they getting them through child protective service agencies,
Yeah.
third world relief project agencies.
Yeah.
Right? They buying them directly off the carts on the Evergreen tankers.
Right.
No, they bidding and auctioning them off like meat, disguising them as furniture on Wayfair and Walmart websites.
Yeah. You know, I did analogies on Diddy's, like a psychological analogies. And a lot of stuff I found out that I didn't know that may tie in. Okay. So his dad was a driver for Frank Lucas. His dad name was Melvin Combs, I think that was his name. He was
Yep.
a driver for Frank. Turned out he ended up, I think he ended up snitching on somebody and
Yep.
they put him out of business. Okay. So Diddy could go connects back with Bumpy and Frank Lucas and all of them, right?
Yep.
So Diddy, to me, it seemed like the Diddy would have that type of that mafia type mentality. You know, get some dirt on a guy. He come from that type of background. Have some on the guy. You know, and then you can use that as leverage. You know, so I think that a lot of the people in the industry was happy when Diddy went down because he was starting half of them. He probably was starting Ursha, everybody that he got videos on. Like, look, if I got a video on you getting hit up the butt, and I say, look, man, you got to come up with 10,000 or some area, month or so, or else this video going out of, Brian Pompa ripping your behind wide open. And you gonna pay that 10 grand if you Meek Mills or somebody like that. If you somebody that's out here, going around, I'm a Crip, I'm riding the 6'4", I'm a Crip blood from the West Coast. But then Diddy got you on tape, and somebody opening up your can. How is they gotta look for your gangster? I'm a thug. This masculine.
There's a whole bunch of download niggas that's gangster.
Go ahead.
Don't let that fool you. Look, some of them gangsters go out and kill 10 people and come back and bend over and want you to put something in them. Don't you bleed for a minute because they gangster, they don't mess around. Right. That's why niggas get raped in penitentiary, because you got fags in the penitentiary raping niggas. And they normally pick on the weak. Then you find people like me, you find all these little characters running up to you that you don't know from Iraq and Iraq seeking help to protect them from some predatory, twisted-minded individual gangster.
Right.
Called himself a gangster. He hardcore. He was getting them in the streets. He was flipping 3 birds a week in here chasing boy booty.
in the jail. He's a a booty chaser. And then look, that's what I think, man. Based on my analogies, like I said, Diddy, like he come from that type of background where he can extort the extortion, that extortion, that type of energy. So,
Look,
so, so it
the
don't be.
Diddy situation is bigger than what y'all think.
Go ahead.
Everybody just looking at his depraved events and all that. So far, they haven't really mentioned no real criminal
Yeah, really.
activity
Maybe
with evidence. Listen what I'm saying. They've introduced allegations,
yeah,
but we haven't seen any evidence to support the allegations. They say they got it on tape. We ain't seen no leaked footage.
right.
Right?
Yeah.
We seen leaked footage of the snowman raping that little girl on Lolita Express and the other one on the beach
Yeah.
on the island. Those leaked back in the day.
Yeah.
Right? Long before we even heard of Epstein, those leaked.
Right. Right.
So it ain't no secret about what Bill Clinton was doing. He on video.
Right.
Right? And everybody that was doing the dirt is on video, and everybody that wasn't involved in no dirt, they could be on camera, but they ain't on camera doing no dirt. Somebody had to lay eyes on that bullshit.
Right. So what you said